All right, guys, what's up? This is me testing my Blue White Miracles brew. This is just a typical Legacy League. And what I want to do is just kind of run it through these matches in front of you and see what you think. I think the Miracles deck is probably one of the top three-ish decks right now in Legacy. And I've wanted to kind of put my spin on it, essentially. And so, obviously, this is not a blue-white-red. This is just straight blue-white with some spicy little sideboard touches. And I was hoping if I could get it out into our listeners, they could give me some insight on what they think. So this is a good opener. We're going to keep this. Our opponent's going to 5 cards, which is good for us, obviously. Let's see what he has here on the play. Now, basic island could be Show and Tell, could be Delver, could be Storm. Leave there and see what happens. A Force of Will would be really ideal here. I mean, he could be Merfolk even? Whoa, Fairy Conclave. Is he Ascendancy maybe? Well, regardless, I can't really come up with a reason why I should just jam this counterbalance. If he's got days, he's got days. Spell Snare. Okay, well. Interesting. Maybe he's just fairies? Standstill. Okay. So we have a couple options here when it comes to Standstill. We can just break it right now, which is what I'm inclined to do. I don't really see a benefit in waiting, especially with our opponent down so many cards. So I'm just going to go ahead and Trinket Mage here. And if he chooses to force Trinket Mage, that's fine. This essentially puts us at card parity since our opponent mulligans so much. So again, not great, but waiting, I think, advantages him quite a bit more, especially if he's a counterspell deck. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and use this. We're going to go get top. Still waiting on that counterspell. Now, the only Legacy deck I know of that plays Fairy Conclave is an Ascendancy combo deck. But this could be a variety of other things. Standstill is an interesting inclusion in that, if that's the case. Thinking this might get countered here. Yeah. Now we can put it back on top if we so choose. He might just be a counter go Standstill deck. I mean, that's certainly what this is playing like. Yeah, Standstill. Now this is interesting. I actually have a lot more going on than him at this stage in the game, so I don't know why he played the Standstill. He's going to have to break it. That's my text message going off. Sorry, guys. So he can activate both Fairy Conclaves, in which case he doesn't really have anything to do with the Standstill. Yeah, this is strange. I'll crack your standstill here. Let's see what happens, buddy. Now, if he wants to force this, he certainly can, but his mana is in such a weird... I mean, I guess he could just counterspell it, which is also pretty rough. Okay, so we are going to click back. Okay, so he forces... He didn't... What a weird thing to do. So he didn't force... the swords. He forced my click. Yeah, I don't know about all that. Just gonna assume not block here. He is going to block. Okay then. What a weird exchange that was. Don't know if I played that correctly. I mean, I guess he's just going to play another Standstill. Or Jace. Okay, that's fine. Not super great. Not ideal. I mean, this matchup as a whole is tough for us. And our opponent's drawn a million cards and countered everything we've done. However, and I think this is a big important point to make, we're doing okay despite all those setbacks. So we're going to go ahead and put this top on top. If he forces this, we're in big trouble. Let's see. Yep. All right. Well, now the question is, do we do it again? He's not been attacking either. Okay, so we're gonna set up to force plus put top back on top and hope that gets the job done. I'm definitely gonna bring in back to basics out of my side. I just think it's probably too good against him, and I don't think he'll have an answer. He'll almost be playing, definitely be bringing in Red Blast, which is an important thing to note. So Wastelanding, that's a good play. Okay, let's try this again. He cast right here. I think this game is going to be out of reach if he counters this. Don't know what he could have that he's thinking about. I think it's probably pretty obvious that he needs to counter it if he can. Maybe he's just waiting to counter the top, which seems bad. Like he should have just let the Standstill resolve, draw on the cards. Yeah, what? Okay. So this is going to get counterspelled. Okay, so let's go ahead and call this a game. On to game 2. That seems rough. My opponent went all the way down to 5 cards and I still lost. So, Grafdigger's Cage, Relic, Elixir. None of that seems super great. Definitely not bringing in Entreat. think Terminus and 1 Swords. We'll just trim the creature removal package. Every time I've played against a deck like that, like a Jace deck, the absence of the red splash is really noticeable. But every time I play against Eldrazi, Grixis Delver, all those kinds of decks, the lack of red seems to be a benefit. Obviously there, having red Elemental Blast would have mattered quite a bit. But such is life. Such is the pairings. Yes, I would like to play first. Now, the reason to break Standstill very quickly there, as opposed to not, is A, obviously he had 2 creature lands, but also I don't really gain anything out of waiting because I'm not playing Mishra's Factories. I actually lose a lot in that exchange. So it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to just allow him to get a better and better hand and then dig deeper into his deck and deal me damage. It's kind of just better to treat it as 2 mana for 3 cards, which sucks for me, but definitely necessary for what we need to do. I would definitely like to brainstorm now and find a top. That would be super ideal. Okay. We definitely, we just cannot miss land drops in this matchup. That's super crazy important. I'm also going to start fetching basics in case I draw back to basics. And we're definitely going to hold back. That's fine. Check out the old border of Fairy Conclave. That's sweet. Factory. I doubt he's playing Stifle, so I'm not really concerned about any of that kind of thing. I would just like to have some level of counter magic for what I'm trying to do. Come on. Alright, so we're going to get an island. Get a plains. I would assume he'll take counterbalance here, but I don't know. He doesn't seem to have red mana online, so he might just be holding it in hopes of getting me, because it doesn't seem like his deck is very dependent on it. If he has Planeswalker, he'll take Council's Judgment. Oh, he just gave me another Venser. So that was interesting. So if he doesn't do that, then that tells me he likely has a way of interacting, with counterbalance. Okay, so we can... I still think we're just going to sit back here and kind of wait for him to do something. If he activates Conclave or Factory, I'm gonna like snap, plow, and then if he has red blast, he can obviously red blast the snap. That's fine. Alright, so we are gonna snap storm. If he wants to counter this, he sure can. Yeah. Okay. And we're just on the hunt for more mana at this stage. Brilliant. And we'll try and Vincer, whatever it is that he does. I really don't want to get into trying to cast Counterbalance until at least I have some blue up to act like I can do things on his turn. So this might get red blasted as well. Standstill is just such a hard card for me to beat if I don't have balance, counterbalance lock. It's kind of interesting that he didn't crack the fetch there. So we're going to put Terminus counterbalance back. See what happens here. I mean, he's got to force this if he has a force. He's got to. Maybe I should have left off with counterbalance, and that would have been more of a getcha. I mean, it's likely he'll still blow this up at instep. Yeah, he clearly doesn't have the red blast now. He's getting ready to brainstorm into it. At least that's what I would assume. This will be a mountain. What if foothills, huh? That's interesting. He's got Tarns. He's got flooded strands, right? Yes. Oh, man, that's funny. So we do have a good reason to actually do double counterbalance, because it actually, if he is able to red blast one, we're able to stop it, from getting too out of hand. It's interesting that he has another one. So obviously he's going to go for back to basics. At least that's what we would assume. It's likely I should have actually played Relic here. I gotta get my triggers in order here. Now again, I really need to hit like an actual top one of these days. I'm actually going to go ahead and cast this. Because I think it's the most mana efficient way of dealing with Snapcaster at the moment. We don't have a brainstorm to put it back on top. We don't have a top. There's just a lot of problems right now with our hands, obviously. We're about to get jaced. I think that's pretty clear. Fluted Delta. So we assume Jace is going to go up. We are going to draw Polluted Delta, and then we're going to attempt to cancels Judgment Jace here. Hope he doesn't have a counterspell, which I almost guarantee he does. Flusterstorm, this plays around. That's about it. He can even snap counter if he wants. Okay. So, yes. Engineered Explosives doesn't do it for us. So let's go ahead and get a Tundra. That is perhaps the most fortunate I've been in a Legacy League ever. Is right there. You guys just saw it happen. So now he's going to be on the beatdown plan, I would assume at least. He might have another Jace. Obviously, I could do nothing about that. So he's going to hit me for a lot here. So am I dead? No, not quite. This has just been kind of brutal. I have 34 cards left in my deck. And I just have hit a lot of air, to be frank with you. And maybe that's the problem with this build, you know? 6, 9, yeah. So I need to hit Brainstorm. Top, I think, is kind of where I need to be. I'm assuming he's going to Wasteland here. That's fine. I don't know that there's much else I can hit that works. Nope. Well, there's game 1.